My name is Harry Zavos. I'll wait till you get it because I will refer to it and read from it. Planned for 5 minutes, so I'll have to try to cut this short. I want to have you see the case for the transfers of electrical fees going to the general fund violates the Constitution. And I begin with the first page following the flow chart, which is Section 20, which creates the revenue funds for water and electric, where all the receipts are deposited. And if you look at the last paragraph, it indicates what is transferred to the general surplus fund. Let me read that. The credit balance, if any, or any part thereof, in each said funds, electric or water, at the end of any fiscal year, the amount of which is in excess of the amount of all outstanding demands and liabilities unpaid for said fund on account of budget appropriations, therefrom shall be transferred to the Glendale Water and Power Surplus Fund. Now, any appropriation beginning at the fiscal year of a specific amount violates that provision of the Charter in two ways. One, the Charter says that's to be determined at the end of the year, not at the beginning of the year. And more importantly, it indicates that the amount that goes is the excess after all budget appropriations have been accounted for. You can hardly have a budgeted appropriation of money of electrical fees to go to the general fund and at the same time for it to be the excess of budgeted appropriations. It's just a non sequitur. Now, if you go to page, and again I'm having to rush through this, if you go to page 4, first paragraph, that creates the GWP surplus fund. And let me read the first paragraph, which reiterates what we've just looked at. It says, a fund to be known as the Glendale Water and Power Surplus Fund is hereby created, to which fund shall be credited from the receipts of the Department of Glendale Water and Power and the Waterworks Revenue Fund and the Electrical Works Revenue Fund, any amounts in excess of the requirements of the several funds as herebefore set forth. What are those funds? They're the revenue funds in terms of obligations yet not paid. They are the sinking funds to take care of the bond, and they're the depreciation funds to take care of critically and needed capital improvements. And only after you've taken care of that, any excess, not a specific budgeted amount, goes to the surplus fund. And if you'll go down to the last paragraph before you have my comments, you'll see in the box that that money goes to the general reserve fund, not to the general fund. If you go to the next page, that gives you the general reserve fund. I haven't had time to talk about it, but Mr. Milano indicated it's a revolving line of credit. But if you then go to page 6, which is a general budget fund that takes care of general appropriations, I'm going to leave some words out, but you can follow it in the document, beginning with the underlined portions. It says, a fund to be known as a general budget fund is hereby created. All receipts from general tax levies, license fees, permits, and interest on bank accounts, and all other receipts except those from the Department of Glendale and Water shall be credited to such fund. It precludes GWP funds going to that fund. I would hope that you would take time, again, as I said, I went much faster. I could slow down and take questions, that you would look very carefully at that flow chart. It has sections of the charter upon which every item is based, and it has those charter provisions appended so you can read them. It has significant portions underlined, and any attempt or any justification for taking monies from GWP Electrical Works and taking it to the general fund to support general services must account for these provisions, which on their face contradict such a procedure. One, because it says any funds transferred out of those water and electric revenue funds, other than what goes for the purposes of Glendale Water and Power, have to be surplus after all budget appropriations are taken care of. So you can't take the money that's being transferred and make it a budget appropriation, since the charter says all that goes is what is left over after budgeted appropriations. And then it says those budgeted appropriations go to the reserve fund, not to the general fund, which is a revolving fund of credit. And then the general budget fund indicates that receipts of GWP are not credited to it.
Mr. Zavos, before you go back, I do have a question. First of all, I do appreciate the time you've taken to articulate your views, regardless of whether or not people agree or disagree with those views. I do appreciate a citizen taking that time to prepare and research to support your point of views and participating in the process. So I first just wanted to express some appreciation for that. But I do have a specific question. You did rush through it rather quickly.
Yes.
For the benefit of the public, could you summarize in one sentence what your bottom line conclusion is?
The best I can do is to say that, and it's not what I think, it's the clear language of the charter. I've read from the charter that language specifically indicates that GWP fees that get used for something other than GW purposes or needs can only be the excess over budgeted after all budgeted appropriations have been taken care of. And then those fees go to a fund which is a revolving fund of credit, not to the general fund to support services. And if I may say, I realize we have a budget shortfall. The city is not without means to make up that shortfall. The law allows the city to raise general revenues to support general services, but they've got to go to a vote of the people. So to transfer electrical fees in violation of the charter in order to take care of that shortfall is a way of circumventing going to the people and asking the people for those levies. And that is a very severe distrust of democratic government, and it is the people that should decide the priorities of how money is spent.
Are you asserting that, before you even get to that part of your conclusion,
yes,
are you asserting that the other obligations of GWP are not being met to begin with before you even get to the surplus?
Well, all I know is this, that there was a presentation indicating there's some $24 million of critical improvements for the electrical works that are having to be deferred because there's no money. And at the same time, $21 million is being transferred to the general fund in conflict, in violation of the express language of the charter, which you have in front of you and you can read for yourself, and which I've read portions for in this presentation.
Thank you very much.